In the beginning, we were born. Then we grew. Everything we knew was new.
Are you gonna spread love or hate? Are you gonna spread love or hate? Are you gonna spread love or hate?
See the world through different eyes. Realize it's all fairy tales and blue skies. Everyone is wearing a mask in disguise, covering up their issues with betrayals and lies. As we wish we could see through our childhood eyes. I ask you, I ask you,
are you gonna spread love or hate?
are you gonna spread that love?
Are you gonna spread love or hate? Are you gonna spread love or hate?
Everything we knew and everything we're taught. I guess we all had bigger problems than the one we saw. The battles that were won and the fights that were fought. We never absorbed all the hate and distraught. Spread that love. So spread that love.
Are you gonna spread love or hate?
And let each other in, or feed into temptation and ultimate sin, to learn what we didn't learn right from the start, because nowhere where was place in my heart for hate. As we wish you could see through our childhood eyes once again, I ask you, spread love,
Spread love or hate? Spread love or hate? I'm gonna spread love or hate? Love.
Welcome, everyone, as Angified presents the one, the only, the Imp! Yes! You can find him on Bandlab today at the Imp. Make sure you check him out. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe.
Great to meet you, Imp.
Hi, Imp.
I'm
How are
already subscribed.
It's so amazing to finally meet you.
Yeah, yeah. You weren't kidding about all that.
Sharing the love. Now, Imp, I have to learn more about you because you are an amazing artist, and I have to know where you hail from. Like, where did these eggs of your great grandmother come from to give you such beautiful music genes and inspiration?
Well, I mean, I grew up in Napa, California. Didn't really I mean, growing up was, I wouldn't say hard, but it was kind of what do you call it? It's kind of like medium, you know. I had my own issues and stuff like that, but it was around when I was a teenager when I kind of like started listening to like metal and stuff like that. Starting off with like Slipknot, where it kind of like felt relatable to me, you know.
Kind of
And
like
then,
musical puberty.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like I wish I didn't hear, or I wish I'd seen this like sooner, you know, or heard of this stuff sooner. I mean, obviously there was like AC/DC and stuff like that, but like pioneers, you know. But I didn't really enjoy it until, you know, like new metal, I guess, would be that kind of like the start of like my metal like influences and stuff like that. But then you know, somewhere around my teenage years, I was like, you know, I had friends who they were starting a band and stuff like that, and we didn't really go anywhere, but we did it for fun, you know. And then not really much else to say from there, other than around like when I was 16 or 17, like I found this thing called uloops.com or whatever, and that they changed their name after a while. It was like Pocket Band or something like that, and there was an app for iOS and for Android. I'm not so certain if it was
Oh, you're
like
talking about that early Pocket Band app
yeah.
application? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the biggest problem with the structure of that one was, I think it was like you only had like blocks or whatever. So you had
Yeah.
like 16 bars or something like that, and then you'd go to the next block where you would repeat that block, and it kind of made the song sound a little choppy if you didn't know what you were doing. But it was fun, you know, and that's where I started making music, and my music was trash. It was pretty trash.
Well, it got
Like
you
now that
thinking
especially,
about arrangement.
yeah,
It did.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it did. You know, it helped me with like tempo and all that stuff. And during that time, I was able to like, you know, grow. The more I used it, I was able to learn how to master and stuff like that. But then it turned out that that app was actually just like a college project for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so around roughly 2015, 2016, something like that, they were just like, all right, we're dropping it. You know, nobody else can use it anymore. Like all the money that, you know, I put in money in that, like kind of like stock sort of, you know, I helped them to come out with more ideas and stuff like that to bring to the table. And it was just kind of like my money just kind of went to waste at that point, because nobody could use it. Like it was just they shut down the servers, all that stuff. And it took a couple
Well, you
months,
didn't
but a
let
lot of
your
us,
experience go to waste.
no, no,
Right.
no, not at
Good
all.
investment.
Which I'm really happy for, but I was very upset at the time, but that I couldn't make music. But then my buddy Frank from Australia, he said like, oh, there's this other app, this newer app called Bandlab. And so I checked it out, and I was kind of like nervous at first, you know, because it was totally different to what I was used to, you know. Because everything you're recording and everything like that is yeah, you can stop whenever you want. There's no block or anything like that. How I said Pocket Band was, and it kind of like scared me a little bit because it was like it was almost professional, you know, you know, but for phones and stuff like that. And I know that there's it's on PC as well, but I don't, you know,
Well,
I don't use
plus you have the
PC,
whole
so
social media side of it, which is
yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah, it's not forums or anything like that. It's literally like it's like Facebook but for musicians, you know.
Right.
And so, you know, when I first started, I wasn't too into it. You know, I did like a couple songs, and then I stopped for like a year or something like that. And then sometime last year, I got back into it, and I realized that one of the most frustrating things for me was that I wasn't willing to branch out or work with anybody that I hadn't worked with before. So I'm trying to get all these other people that I worked with back on Pocket Band. I'm trying to bring them over here so that I can work with them. But you know, as time passes, you realize like people got their own shit that they got to do, you know, and you know, that you kind of just lose track of it, you know. And that was kind of upsetting for me at first, but then I found I talked to Idiot Burns. Was the first person actually, and
It's funny how Burns has started so many of us on Bandlab. Like,
yeah, it's, you know, and he has really good music, and I'm just like, I have to ask him, you know, because even if he has like his forks and stuff like that, like you could fork off or whatever, I still felt the need to ask, you know, because I'm not like somebody who goes onto a song and I'm just like, I'm taking that, you know, and I'm gonna do something with it. Like I want to ask first because I feel like, you know, I feel like I'm a very polite person, you know, and so he's like, yeah, go ahead, you know, and from there it was just like I had to figure out. Like I did one song and then I realized I'm like, dude, this sounds like shit on my end. It feels like I'm bringing it down, you know. And so at some point I got frustrated. And I was just releasing songs just because I felt like it. You know, it was something that I found as a hobby, and I was kind of trying to tell stories and stuff like that. But then after a while, I realized like I might be getting a little ahead of myself here, but um, I hit up Jason at one point, Mr. Cemetery, and I asked him about like growls and stuff like that because I realized I wasn't doing mine properly, you know.
Yeah,
And he
couldn't
showed
ask a better person about
Yeah.
that.
no, like ever since I asked him, my growls have gotten significantly better, like so
Oh,
much more healthy, so
I
much
think
more
he's
better. Like,
responsible for many growls getting better over the last year and a half. I've
Yes.
seen him
yeah,
really help a lot of people there.
And I've seen him
yeah, that's
involved
it,
vocally as well with different
right.
techniques. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
awesome.
and there's a lot of techniques I'm not used to like doing, and I want to know how to do, you know, but I
Well, and
feel
he'll
like,
show you how to do them safely. Like that's what
yeah,
you should appreciate there. He'll show you how to do it where you don't destroy your voice.
I definitely agree with that. Especially, I could say for sure that he was somebody like we didn't even talk that long. He's just like he told me, how to do it, but then he's like, okay, so if you don't understand that, here's a good video that can kind of instruct you on how to do it. And just between those two things, I was able to practice it. And sure enough, it was just like my voice isn't dry anymore. Like I don't feel like I'm waking up the next day with a sore throat or anything like that. Like
Good.
That's good.
every once in a while, I'll get a headache because like I don't, do it every day or anything like that. But it's still like I'm able to use my voice and I'm able to go up, down, wherever, And my problem before was that I was running out of air, and
Yeah.
and then obviously my voice would get scratched and stuff like that. And you see it from lots of bands, especially professional ones. Like Avenged Sevenfold, Matt had to get surgery, and just because he was using his voice
Notes.
wrong in seventh sounding the seventh trumpets and stuff like that. And and I don't want to be in that situation. So it was good that I was and basically my point is like there's a lot of people on this app that all you have to do is talk to them, and it helps, like they are willing to go out of your way, especially the metal community. I mean, I've known a couple people like from other communities and stuff like that that are also willing to help out. But particularly the metal community is always going to be there to help out. They're willing to work with you. They're willing to give you advice. They're willing to tell you if something sucks. I mean, or if it's good. Like it's just awesome to be able to work with people. And all it took was me branching out.
Yeah, the
Being able
metal
to go like,
community is definitely one of the most receptive and helpful of all the different genres that you find on Bandlab.
Yeah.
right.
Metalheads stick together.
Yeah. Not a true statement, to be honest. Because I'm very introverted. I'm like I don't want to have to ask people, like, especially like with working on songs and stuff like that. It's like I don't want to have to ask people like hey, can you do this instead of what you're doing now? And they're like, even Pat was kind of like just like he was like just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't like telling people what to do. He's like, no, I get that, but tell me what to do. Like, because he's like, I don't want to get it wrong. It's your song. Like this is your vision, and I want you to have that vision. And I'm like, all right, then just do it this way. Then don't fuck it up. Just like,
See, it really is.
See, you don't fuck it up.
so yeah, it's nice to be able to like hear that. It's nice to be able to hear that somebody's willing to just kind of like be like, dude, no, be brutal with me.
But it's
all
nice
you
to
have to do is
find musicians like that to work with, because the toughest thing about working with musicians that you don't totally jive with is one wants to go in one direction, the other wants to go in another direction, and that makes for a difficult band.
yeah, I agree. Because
Yeah.
and as an example, like especially on Pocket Band from before, like there's a lot of people there that there's not really a chat per se, like how we have a chat here. It's just like you invite somebody that you think would be a good asset to the song that you're playing or that you're recording, but then they just start messing everything up, and you can tell them like, hey, you're doing this wrong, or can you like not fuck with what I got going on or whatever, but they'll still do it anyway. Whereas here, like I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any issues with people screwing with my stuff or just kind of taking over the entire song when it's not their song to take over.
Yeah,
Like
that's a big problem. Like you'll
yeah,
get an
I would
artist
instantly.
you'll get an artist who wants their track to be the spotlight of the song. And, sometimes them guitarists out there, like, I like to hear the guitar, but I don't want it to eat up everything else that's going on in the song. So
Yeah,
sometimes you got to tell a guitarist, like, hey, we're going to pull you back.
I don't know. I think
yeah,
it's those background singers. Those
You know, that,
background singers always want to be louder than the lead vocalist.
that's another one you run
yeah,
into on Bandlab a lot, where like, yeah, so somebody wants to add vocals behind a lead and they want to be the lead. And there's only so much room for leads in guitars and vocals on a track.
yeah, indeed. Yeah, like for example, there's also like that last song, the last Norse song that I did with Snave, where I had like 10 different people doing, like I had them on the side too. It wasn't even in the same project because I was like, I basically, this is what I said was, and it has to do with Pat as well. It's just kind of like, all right, so I want you guys to copy what I do, and my biggest problem with that is that a lot of people want to do what they want to do,
Yeah.
without instruction. But like I said, all I had to do was instruct them.
Now, do you think
Actually,
that is the
I prefer
problem?
being shown what to do. It helps a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was like
Well,
I said,
do you think that it's the problem that people want to do what they want to do? Or do you think it's a problem with communication to say, hey, listen, this is the vision that I have for this song? Like when you were talking about working with Pat and he's like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Some people just jump on it and they have their own vision and they take it to their little island, while
yeah,
yours is like, no, this is where it started.
right,
So
yeah.
it's
I
kind of
I
a
could
toss up
say
there, I think.
yeah, I don't disapprove with people wanting to be creative in their own right. Especially when it comes to my song. I want them to be unique or whatever. Like, but when it comes to like the structure of the song and what I had envisioned originally, it's like that's on me. I should communicate
Yeah.
that. And I'm very introverted, and I'm
Well,
very
and
introverted. I'm very
it depends on how connected you are to your song. Like I have songs where I'm kind of like open-ended, want to hear any good ideas that people might have. And there's a few songs to me that for me are like very personal. Like this song has to be done a certain way because I have a vision for that. Some songs are very personal to the writer. Those are the ones that you're a little more hesitant to let people just kind of stomp on.
yeah. Yeah, and especially with like my Norse songs, because they resonate with me a lot,
You're saying
you know.
Norse, like Viking,
Yeah, the
Norse?
Viking, like yeah. It's a lot of it comes from like the poetic Ada, so it as a pagan myself, it's like I want to do it in a way that I feel like would be kind of it would
That
resonate
represents.
with, represents
Yeah.
what my traditions or what the traditions are first off, and then how I feel towards my own religion. And I'm not a huge fan of generally I'm not a huge fan of like bringing religion into music,
Well,
but I mean it's
faith songs
yeah,
are the ones that writers will hold closer to their heart. These
Yeah.
are the ones that they don't want to mess up.
right, yeah. it's like with Christian music, you know, like, or gospel. What do you gospel music? I don't want to say
Yeah,
gospel music.
gospel.
There's a lot of
Gospel's the
people.
original religious music.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna like dissuade them from what they're doing, and it is very heartfelt, you know, and you can tell because because of the amount of work that they put into it, and the amount of faith that they have that the
The
song will.
feels.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
You
the
know, and
feels.
that's what particularly I want to resonate in the Norse songs, you know, and I'm lucky enough that Snave, like one time it was like the Bergelmer song. I just told him like, here's the story, like just make the music, you know, like do what you want, like just so long as like however you interpret it basically. And he comes out with this absolute fucking banger of a fucking instrumental, and like he's got like the water dripping in the background and everything, and I'm just like, that is so fucking badass, dude. Like that is exactly what I would have expected, you know.
Where
And
did you first start
The
thinking of
duck
the
is
whole
in.
Norse theme? Where did that first start kicking in?
so like I had these songs that I was working on in my. So when I think I told you earlier, I don't really have any original like songs or anything like that. I do have original songs um on this app, but they are more like folk like Norse folk music, you know, where believe it or not, I'm using a goat skull in a stick and
Sometimes
banging
that's
on
all you
tables
need.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, and I wanted to like I can listen to the quality, and while that stuff resonates with me, I want the quality to kind of represent what I really wanted out of it. And the first two songs that me and Snape did, which was Fate Weaver and Their Gilmer, um, I took what I wanted to do with that, or what I originally did, and just added, you know, metal elements to it. And I was lucky enough that Snave just is awesome. You know, he's
Snave's a
like
metal beast.
he's a beast,
Doctor.
man. Like
Uh-huh.
there's like the first song, like Fate Weaver, all I wanted to do was the intro, you know, and he just told me like, you do the intro and I'll take care of the rest of it, you know. And so I did the intro, and then right after I did the intro, he's like, all right, give me like a day. So the next day he comes out and the rest of the song's done, and I'm just like, holy shit. Just like it just fits, you know, and it fits. He took, like, he knows the story. I told him the story, and he interpreted it in his own way, and it's just amazing, you know, like just be able to like, because that's mostly what a lot of, you know, Norse stuff is, like the poetic Edda and the prose Edda, they're all just stories,
Mhm.
you know. we
Yeah.
we you take and give whatever you want with them. I mean, it's not like a solid like idea or anything like that, you know, whereas, you know, like Christianity, they put all their faith into the Bible and everything like that, and they quote it all the fucking time and stuff like that. You know, and I'm not trying to like bag on them or anything, but on alternatively, you got the Norse religion, where we kind of look at them as guidelines, you know, like you got the whole the Havamal section is all that's all kind of like rules and stuff like that. Like I like stuff to follow, but everything else is it's all stories, you know, like it's
Well,
all
I
myth,
have a
it's all
question
legend.
for you. Speaking of Norse, do you take your teeth that come out like your kids' teeth and throw them over the roof or wear them around your neck? Because I think that was like part of what Norse used to do with teeth.
No. And if I
I
had
had to
kids,
ask.
I don't think I'd want to beat up my kids either. But if okay, so say like say like their tooth fell out. If I had a kid and
Okay,
and
yeah,
their first tooth fell out or something like
yeah.
that, I would probably use that as like a sacrifice to the gods or something like that. You know, I would
So
make
you
a
wouldn't like
whole
wear it around your
ritual.
neck?
Well, it depends on how significant it would be. So yeah, like it.
Well, it's your
I
kids'
like I
tooth,
said, I
so
don't
it's
have
pretty
yeah,
significant.
yeah. So if I had kids, I would. It would really all depend on how I feel in that moment. I think, you know, like would I
Okay.
sacrifice it? Would I use it as a sacrifice to my gods, or would I treasure it, like in a different way, because there's a lot of
Or would just be like, it's a tooth. All right, we're done. Let's move on.
yeah,
That just means you're older now. Like a happy birthday.
yeah. It's
25
like,
cents.
it really depends. It's like you said, it depends on the significance of it, because like in the older days, like the more significant something is to you,
Yes.
the better of an offering, so like if you had in the old days, if you had a horse that you've ridden for 10 years and it was your favorite horse and you were about to go to battle, you would sacrifice that horse, because that's what the gods want. They want the most out of you, really.
Well, it's like a tribute both to the horse and to the gods.
Correct.
It's
a
very
tribute
significant.
of self-sacrifice of
yeah, exactly. Whereas nowadays it's gonna be frowned upon, sacrificing like my cat or something like that.
They don't like people sacrificing horses.
Yeah. But it's like, and then you think about it, right? You're like, what if that is still accepted? Would I be able to do it? And I don't know if I'd be able to do it. like maybe when, if my cat died, right? And maybe, I would give him a ritual, I wouldn't like burn his corpse or anything like that. I'd give him a proper burial and stuff like that, but I'd make a ritual out of it to kind of
show respect,
ease it. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And going back to the whole making music for belief purposes, a sacrifice of a song is just as effective, I believe, as a horse would be. Creativity, the way you represent it when you do it that way, is like a sacrifice. You pull it out of you.
Yeah, we called those galders, which is so like if I was
for it?
Yeah, there's a name for it. I would be considered like a skald, and I would and if I were to sing a song, it would be a galder. It would be something that that you would use to get closer to the gods and stuff like that. So if like I had one of my
so like Sarisa?
Sarisa, that one is it's just a ghost song. I don't really know too much the significance of it.
Okay.
But it's basically a way of telling a story. So ghosts would be considered skalds, and I don't think galder would be. I think it would be more representative of like gospel music. It would be like
like worship.
It would be like singing. Praise. Yeah, worship. It's praising. Yeah, exactly. So like Bergelmer isn't more so a praise. It's more of a retelling of a story, whereas Fate Weaver would be a galder, because I'm the whole song is about praising the Norns, the three weavers of fate, which is not generally a thing, but it's still good, because they even Odin has no power over the Norns. The Norns control everything, and so it wouldn't hurt to like praise them a little bit. But a lot of people don't normally do it, because they're more of I think they're more of an idea in a sense, especially nowadays. You don't know for certain if fate is a thing, or if if your life is predetermined or anything like that.
Well, you spend your whole life kind of deciphering that, figuring that out. We all do individually.
So
right.
Tell me, how did you come up with wanting to do the vocal cover of Sarisa by Ghost?
I was in a Metal,
do that one?
I was in a Metal Monday show where I actually kind of bagged on it a little bit. I was like, oh, that's a little lazy. Then I realized I'm lazy too. So I'm like, I need to figure out a way to practice my vocals where I'm not ruining anybody else's songs because of it. So now that I have covers available where I can go on, there's actually a really cool it's called CC Karaoke on YouTube, and he has a lot of instrumentals and stuff that he takes like the actual track, and he siphons out everything and just leaves in the instrumentals.
That's like karaoke therapy, Tony.
Yeah. So I went there. Actually,
That's another place for you to go. Tony has karaoke
Yeah, I
therapy, so
don't
you can
have as
actually
much death
go.
metal, but
Yeah.
I
You
have
can go on
some
there
metal.
on
See,
Bandlab and on YouTube and look up for the karaoke therapy.
yeah, and CC Karaoke, they have everything. They have rap, they have pop, they have metal, they have death metal, they have Opeth, they have Mastodon, they have they even have they have Pink Floyd, they have everything, like if you could just think of it, like if it's like a really popular band, it's more than likely you can find it on their site. And I just found a website to kind of rip it from YouTube and downloaded it. And but yeah, I did the song because it would just be a really fun song to do. And
And you
I
kicked
wanted to
its
be able to
ass.
practice.
Oh, and
Well, I
Jason,
appreciate that.
Jason would be happy to hear that. Like, you were motivated to up your game because that's a big part of his mission with Metal Monday is
Yes.
really to get all the metalheads to push harder.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that too, because it's just nice to have it around. First off, I mean, and that's why I'm always there. That's why I'm there every day trying to be first there and everything.
That's why you got the
Because
cookie the other night.
yeah,
You
yeah,
got the belt.
yep,
Well,
That
yeah,
champion
and it's
belt.
he
like
beat out Perot.
yeah,
It's not
fucking
easy.
bro, man. Like I've been fighting with him over that spot for like 2 months now. It's just like, man,
Perot's
like
quick.
yeah, like if I'm not on the website at 6 o'clock, I'm not gonna get it because I know Perot is gonna get it first, So I'm like, I'm on here just going like refreshing, I'm just like, you got this, you got this. It's gonna pop up anytime, you know.
Well,
Uh,
how about we check out
but
this song, Sarisa?
okay, yeah,
That way we can hear what you guys fight for on Metal Monday. Yes. Ah, checking it out. Sarisa. This is just a vocal cover. The instruments were ripped from an instrumental version on YouTube. Like the imp said, he said he got bored and wanted to do this as a practice. Let me know what you think. Hashtag metal, hashtag Metal Monday, hashtag rock.
And
Let's go
rock
ahead and
goes with metal.
rock out with the imp. Make sure you go ahead, you like, share, and subscribe. Here we go.
You know, funny story about that is back in 2015, they did, I think is the VMA awards or whatever, and it was Circe versus Custer by Slipknot. And I was so fucking upset that Circe won. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought it was a boring song.
And yet here you are.
Yes.
You know, and I'm like, and the more I listen to that song, and I kind of regret saying this because it is a catchy song. It is a very catchy song.
You knocked that one out of the park, especially
Yeah.
your pitch control. Picking that to like improve your voice, using that one like, hey, I'm bored, I'm gonna go try something and see if I can improve my voice. Picking that was a really good one because your pitch control is fantastic. The hooky parts in that song, you know, where you have to go up every time those parts come in,
Right.
you did not miss a single one.
Damn. Yeah, see, you know, and I don't normally get reviews like that either. So like, I'm blushing, man.
We listen here.
I'm blushing a little bit, man.
Oh, and your
red.
tone sounded fantastic, nice and
Yes.
clean. I mean, everything. The vocals sounded awesome on that, and you ended off with some nice background layers behind the leads. That, you know, those are the little sweeteners that make the songs go out so good.
See, it's even back in the Pocket Band days, like I got a lot of people that I worked with said like, we want your, you know, I want to hear your clean vocals, you know, I want to hear your background, your backup vocals, because like they were telling me, and I never believed them, that my my ability to harmonize with myself was like so good that they that's all they want to hear, you know. They don't want to hear, like, they want to hear more of it, you know. And I never really understood why.
Well,
But
and
like,
as a singer, that's a powerful trait
It is.
that you want to have, because you'd be surprised how many singers can't sing to themselves.
right.
Facts.
How
How many people hate their own voice?
Yeah, I think they have a hard
see,
time singing to themselves because they have a self-consciousness to it.
No, not only
Right.
that, after you start singing for a while and you start learning your voices and you learn, like, when you lay down a track, how you want something to sound, especially one of your own creations, like, you are so critical of yourself because you're hearing something and you're like, this has to be what it is. If not, I will do this 100 billion times until it's there.
right. Like, even especially during like, yeah, even actually especially during cover songs, because you know you're trying to practice and everything, you hear one wrong note and you're like, I got to do that all over again, because
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna, you know, you don't know if it's gonna come out the same. If you try to go back and you try to redo that one spot, it's gonna, in my opinion, I've never had any luck with that. So I have to start back from either the beginning of the verse or all the way at the beginning, because like if one verse you do at one time and then another verse you do at another, you know,
They can
in
have
my
different
opinion, they sound
emotions.
different.
Yeah, they can have
exactly.
different emotions, different expression.
Yeah, like I had this rap song like a week ago that I did, or no, not a week ago. It was about a week and a half ago. That the first verse I did was when I was drunk, and I was so fucking drunk, but it came out so good that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep it. But
Hey,
then
sometimes
I quit
you're
drinking.
loose, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're
Yeah.
loosened up when
You
you're
let
drunk.
go.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, I've been sober for 2 weeks now. And when I went back to that song like a week and a half ago or whatever, and I wanted to do a second verse, like if you had heard it, you could tell, you know, you could tell how different it is, because I put so much effort the first time, and then the second time I feel happier, you know. I like, even listening to it now, like I my whole mentality changed, and because the song was about like a personal struggle, you know. And when I was drunk, it was easier for me to express. But
Yeah.
when I wasn't, I'm like, you know, I'm more uplifted in a sense, you know. And I needed to finish the song, and I did it in a way that was kind of funny, you know. It was kind of like, well, you know, even if nobody listens to us, I could do what I want now, you know. I don't feel
And
like
if it
I'm
makes you feel
obligated.
happy, you know, if it makes you feel happy with the accomplishment, mission accomplished.
Right. Yeah, and I got a lot of people telling me, they're like, yeah, dude, this is good. Like, you know, like, it was really, like, even Snave was saying, like, dude, this, like, you had like you know, you were so serious in the beginning, but then at the end you weren't serious anymore. And I'm like, this is why. Like, because like I didn't feel that depression anymore. I didn't feel like I was in the same mindset as before. So it just like it was just subconscious too, because like I listened to it and I'm all like, man, I was in two different mindsets. Like,
Well, and it goes to show
different.
it goes to show you how the internal emotions, you can hear them in the performance, and how the internal emotions will affect the way you perform.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about Lord Aquitas. This is the one with Idiot Burns, right?
Yeah,
Sprites of fire and ice.
Yeah. So that one, I was just talking about depression. I was very depressed when I wrote that song. Like, not like suicidal or anything, mind you, but I was very, 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 very depressed. Like,
this is when music becomes therapeutic.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of when earlier I said Jason helped me out with my vocals and everything, I actually did 2 verses of the song. The original version was with my not so great vocals, where I was like hurting my throat and everything like that. But then the second version, which is the one I'm assuming you're going to play, is that one you can hear.
Well, if that's the one you sent me.
Yeah. I like, in my opinion, the first one had a lot more emotion, but the second one is a lot like cleaner and more quality, because it's like, and if you did listen to both of them, you could tell like how much my vocals have changed because of Jason, because of what he taught me, but so I wrote that song originally because I was I was very depressed, but at the same time I was trying to like tell a story, which is why the song is named as if it was like a chapter in a book or something like that. So I weaved those two together, where it was so it was from the perspective of the narrator, I think, at first, and then towards the end you could tell in my opinion, I was in a lot of pain at that time, and it kind of just came out on paper. Like, I didn't even really realize until after I was done with the song that my emotions like kind of intervened in what I wanted to do, and then it came out that way. So I even told it, like, in the original one, I added Idiot Burns, and I said, like, I usually give you like quality shit, or try to give you like my best, but this one I just can't do anymore, because I was just so emotionally involved in that song that I just didn't want to do it. So it came out a little weird. So a few months down the road,
you didn't want to do it, but yet you're like, this has to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
that's when you fight with yourself, especially with depression. You're like, dude, I don't want to put this out there. Like, this is like, I'm really like letting it, like, my story, my inner, like, everything's coming out here. And you're like, I don't want to do it, but yet it's got to get done, or it's just going to stay. It's either going to like fuck you up or fuck me up.
Yeah. Sometimes the ones you have to do that are the hardest to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I don't have like, going back to like Pocket Band days, I had like 50 songs in my track list that I was just like, I just never did, because I just didn't feel like I did it. I would do like maybe like 2 verses, but then you got the whole rest of the song to do. And I just like, I felt overwhelmed, and I would never go back to it. Like, if that app was still here today, I would still have those 50 songs on there, because I just didn't care for them anymore. Or I felt like something else was better, but
Bandlab was.
Oh yeah,
Bandlab was better.
And I got a lot of songs on my list that I have other artists, which I'm still surprised that people want to work with me. But I got people that they're inviting me to songs and stuff like that, and I don't know if I have in my opinion, I feel overwhelmed right now because of how many people are trying to work with me.
I'm not used to that. Because like, I know you mentioned earlier that you're an introvert, so collaborating sometimes has to be difficult for you.
Yeah,
because you literally have to become an extrovert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, like, cause like I have one with I don't want to say his name wrong. Boozlet. He's somebody from the Middle East or whatever.
Busalt?
I don't want to say Middle East. Yeah, Buzlat. Yeah, Buzlat.
Okay.
I don't know his last name. Yeah, but
I know exactly who you're talking
we
about.
make Ange say all the usernames.
Yeah, I give Jason so much shit for like during Metal Monday for coming like saying names wrong, and I'm over here saying a name wrong. Anyway, but
that works.
so he invited me to a song that I thought I would resonate with at first, but when I listened to it, it was so high fucking quality that I was just like, I don't know if I should touch this. I don't know, but he's like, oh, I want you, I really like your voice, and I really think it would fit here and everything, like, and. But I'm listening to the song and I'm like, I don't want to fuck this up. I really don't want to. I don't want to add like. So that was my mindset at first, but now it's like, okay, I want to get to that song, but I have so many of these other songs that at this point I'm like so interested in doing. Like I just did a punk song with Hammerstrike that I think he's going to release tomorrow or something like that.
Hammer's another fun one to collab with, huh?
Yeah.
That was the first time. This was the first time I've worked with him, and he's just like everybody, everybody else. It's easy to work with him. He's willing to work with you. He'll tell you if something's wrong. He'll ask you if something's wrong. Everything. Like, and it's just it's a lot easier to work or do music when people are willing to work with you.
And it's nice when some of your peers recognize your tone, because if somebody says like they hear your voice on their piece, that should be humbling, because when I try to pick voices for things that I'm working on, you pick judiciously. You want the tone that fits with the music, and you do have a nice unique tone.
I know. We need to listen to this Lord Aquitus.
Okay. Yeah. Go 30
ahead. Minutes of practice, right?
Yeah.
Quality over quantity.
That one only took me 30 minutes.
Hey, you were on a roll.
The Spites of Fire and Ice, 30 minutes practice. Took me roughly 30 minutes to redo this one. Just practice, trying to strengthen my vocals again. Check out a previous iteration for more harmonics and IMO. Quality. # Metal Monday. Idiot Burns at Idiot Burns for instrumentals. Let's check this out. Killer. That was freaking badass.
Yeah,
Man,
you know,
hear your
what
vocals. You could
once
hear
I started
straining and you were like in it.
yeah, you know, now that I think about it, like I should have done the original, because the original one had all the harmonies, all that stuff that kind of like made like pulled the song together. But like I said, this one was just a 30-minute redo. But like you could tell, like in the original song, you could tell like how much it like meant to me at the time, you know.
Right.
Whereas this one was just like a 30-minute redo.
Well,
But I
I
thought the
like
quality would
I
be
like
Yeah,
how
better.
you smoothed
but
it
you were
out.
determined. You were determined. That's why you put 30 minutes into it, because you were determined.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You felt
I
it
mean,
and you were like, I'm doing this.
you had a lot of different singing technique challenges in that one. There's at least
Yeah.
4 different styles of metal singing going on in that one song. I
Yes.
love when metal can go from like wildly aggressive to like, you know, soft release. When you came in with the softer part after the intro, this is where your strength with your voice is. Like you can go from that punchy aggressive metal to, you know, fantastic, you know, release metal singing, and you do it without blinking.
Shit. I never really thought of it, so I'm like,
Oh, it's an
that,
important part to like good metal. Like my favorite metal is the kind that can do that and take you on that wild ride
Yeah,
and
journey.
carry you in those moments and then take you back into the wildness and carry you back out. Plus you threw in a whole bunch of extra metal techniques in the middle and towards the
Yeah, you
end
did.
just for fun.
yeah, yeah, it's really like the
And I
structure
did hear
of
the
this one was
emotion. If you say the first
Yeah.
one was more emotional, this one wasn't lacking emotion at all. Like you had the moments where the emotion was where it needed to be.
Pouring out. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, because it was like, as far as the structure of the song, it was like kind of it was kind of like replicated in a sense. You know, I did it how I originally envisioned, but in my opinion, especially like when I remembering that I did it, I didn't feel as like the same emotion as I did before, you know. And I think that's where I was like, you know, how I said like I thought the quality would be better in the first one. This one, like you could hear the voice better in this one. That's really all I meant,
And
you know, because
that's
it
always
just,
important too. That's what
yeah,
makes it worth doing a second take, you know, and getting those vocals. You
Or a
want people
30th take tone.
you want
yeah.
listeners to be able to hear your words. You want listeners to understand singers that seem to be like they don't seem to care whether their words are identifiable. I don't get that. Like you're putting
You know,
these words into the song, you want them to come across.
see, and that was one of my biggest problems with like a lot of doom metal will do that too. You know,
Yeah.
they'll put their vocals behind the instrumental tracks, and it's like I literally actually like a month ago I just saw a doom band play live, and like they don't have their mics set up the same way as they did in the recording studio. They want people to be able to hear what they're saying or the emotions that they're expressing. But I bought the album, one of their albums, so I'm like, this is like right in my area of shit. But then I listened to the album, I'm like, where the fuck are the vocals? I'm like, I understand too, because doom metal, they especially funeral doom, they like to have their vocals in the background, and I'm
Yeah,
not, you know.
some of those singers really want to be. They really think more like an instrumentalist. They're
Yeah.
singing like a guitarist would play. They're just doing it with voice.
Yeah, I think it's more, for sure, it's like more like a droning sort of sound. Like there's a story in the back, but I think they believe that the instrumentals themselves are telling the story, whereas the vocals are just kind of a center, or like not really the centerpiece, but like kind of just an additive to it, you know.
Yeah, I
And
like both to complement each other. You did a good job there
right.
because you felt out Chris's music and you put what needed to be on top of it, and that's when the blend is perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, you know. It's not, you know, because that makes me feel like, you know, it wasn't just like my own personal emotions and what I was going through. It was that I was also trying to I don't know if it was subconscious or not, trying to match what was going on in the
Well,
song.
you
I
amplified
think you
you
just wanted
amplified
everybody to feel.
Chris's aggressive style there. You amplified it.
And you wanted
Sure.
people to
Yeah.
feel, because not only am I hearing your vocals, but I'm feeling it pull out of you. Like I'm feeling you just push all of like the anxiety, the anger, the depression, like just that negative stuff, and you just put it in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
and-
style
Beautiful done.
changes. The style changes help to actually make the listener appreciate the different aspects of your voice even more. Because when I hear you go from the growls to the singing parts, the singing parts just sound that much more glorious, contrasting the heavier parts.
I think I understand that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Like, you guys are just over here.
Well, good. Tell me more about Fate
Great job.
Weaver.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
this is the one we
yeah.
were
Fate
talking
Weaver,
about, huh?
yeah. I'm like getting ready to hear this one, Mr. Dr.
Weave
Snave and
your
you.
fate.
So yeah, Fate Weaver, that was it was particularly emotional for me, especially since like I wanted to I just hit up Stave one day and I'm like, would you be willing to do a Norse song with me? He's like yeah, hell yeah, let's do it, you know? And
Well, knowing Snave, it was fuck yeah.
Right?
yeah. He's like, yeah, he was ready. He was jumping. He was just like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. Like, what do you got in mind, you know? And I'm all like, this is what. Here are the lyrics, or rather the excerpt that I took from the prose edda, or not the prose edda, the poetic edda, and he, you know, like I said, the structure of it was like he let me do my own thing, and at first I was like, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. But then I slept. I went to sleep, and I thought about it, for a while, and I was like, wouldn't it sound cool if they were rowing on a boat on a river, and that was just something that they were singing to pass the time?
But that's what I thought Norse music traditionally was the sailors, like, singing about like rowing somewheres or getting ready for war. We're gonna go kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because
we're gonna have to get him a Viking helmet. What do you think?
I actually have one. It's funny. My buddy found it. Like, he works for this plant called Recology. It's a recycling plant, and so he was working on the line to be able to separate all the shit, and he found this chainmail and armor in a chainmail helmet, and I'm like, he brought it over to my house. He's like, he was like, I felt like you'd appreciate that. I'm like, I don't know where to put it, but I'll keep it because this is so badass. Somebody made it from scratch. It's not even like somebody bought it or anything. They just made it from scratch.
Well, next time you visit us, you have to like wear it.
Oh,
or you
yeah,
have to send us a picture of it. Like, that's just freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a picture of it for sure. Because I did. Because I was showing it to my dad at one point. I like took a couple pictures of my buddy wearing like the waist one, whatever. It's not so much the chest one, but the waist and the helmet. I just wish like I had the whole set, because whoever made this did a great job. It's really like, it looks really authentic. But as far as like the song goes, it was at one point actually, like other than the rowing down the river and singing the song, I wanted to like have, that's why you hear the docking sound when they slide up the sand and they disembark. I wanted to go into like a raid, like I wanted to like have like screaming in the background and the swords and all that shit going on. But then I realized, there's something that I learned a while back, was less is more. You want to be able
you don't want an overly creative imagination to get in your way.
Right.
It's awesome that you're thinking of your songs like that, though, and kind of visualizing the story that you're putting into the song. And if you can get some of those things in, you just don't want to get so caught up in the special effects and sound effects that you never get to the song itself. I know I've gotten caught in that a few times.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's listen to this.
Yep.
What languages did you write this in? Because that first verse
I
looks like
actually didn't write it. That's straight from the Norse Poetic Edda.
that's really
That
cool. Look,
was
yeah,
Snorri. Yeah, Snorri Sturluson was the writer of that, and I just
very
interpreted it in a
cool.
way that I felt was right. You know, it's and that's a lot like what a lot of the passages are. So if you ever heard like Wardruna or something like that, Heidlung, Danheim, any of them, like they're singing the same stuff I'm singing. You
Now,
know,
how much
except
did you have to
they're
practice to get comfortable with speaking that way?
um quite a bit. I had a you know
I would
when I
imagine.
first yeah when I when I first started with my Norse paganism, I had this group on Facebook where they were devoted to the runes and how to use them and how to write with them and everything. And my teacher at the time, he just sat me down. He's just like, here's something in runes, and I want you to decipher it. I'm like, okay, am I gonna get any help? No, you're not gonna get any help. You gotta figure it out on your own. That's the
Trial by
best way I can
fire.
teach you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So from there, I was just completely dissolved into the idea, you know. So like sometimes you'll see me in Guardboard, we'll talk in runes and stuff like that. That's just transliteration. It's all phonetic mostly. And then at the same time, you want to try to be as authentic as possible when it comes down to not wanting to be like transliterate. You want to translate, you know, you want to be able to,
Yeah.
you start to get interested in it, you know, and then you go like to these, any picture that has like old like stones and stuff with writing on it, you want to be able to read it, you know, you want to be able to translate it yourself. And that's kind of where the interest came in, you know, like that's where I was like, okay, I need to, you know, start learning like something similar. So like old Norse is actually an older version of, I think the closest, I was talking to Guardboard about this, and it's kind of up to speculation a little bit, but I think Icelandic would be the closest language to the Old Norse as far as like specific words, but it depends on where you come from too, because they're all proto Germanic, you know. So even Germany has words that the Old Norse used that still exist to this day. Even we do, actually. The English language do too. You know, Germanic, Swedish, Danish, all of them, like they all carry on the words from the Old Norse. But I think Icelandic, because they sailed, they found the land, and that was just their land. You know, they didn't have any other deciding factors. I think that's where it kind of, that's the strong point, you know. So you start with kind of like Icelandic. You start with like trying to decipher the words. You know, you're reading these things, and you're trying to think like, oh, that's Icelandic. So you look it up in Icelandic, and sure enough, like even if you Google translate it, like the Old Norse to Icelandic, you'll find some words that actually connect, you know. And then, you know, it's kind of a rabbit hole from there, you know, and it's just fascinating in my
Oh,
opinion, like
and I
just being
bet
able
you
to
all of that has helped you to become a better singer too.
Yeah.
Understanding language that way, learning different language techniques has to help a singer.
Yeah, I agree, because I had, there's a lot of song I don't know if you know El Nino, the metal band.
I've heard of it.
It's them, Spineshank, and there's this band called Angela, which I don't think anybody's ever heard, but they, a lot of their songs you can hear are in Spanish, and I like the Spanish versions of their songs. So like if I was to do, like I did an El Nino cover where because they had two versions of the song, was How Can I Live. That song, you probably heard it from Freddy versus Jason. It's like at the end in the trailer, or in the
Maybe
credits, the end credits. Um, but they did two versions of that song. They did the one version in complete English, and then the next version was in Spanish.
Spanish.
And then the English version had a part somewhat near the end, which was like in Spanish and English at the same time. So they excluded that, I think, from the Spanish version for, I don't know why. But what I did with this song was I did it all in Spanish up until that point where I really liked that part, so I wanted to keep it in, you know. and then yeah, so it's
See,
it's
isn't it
nice to be
nice when
able
you
to,
have your own choice? That's why
yeah,
it's
I
nice
agree,
to
yeah,
cover songs sometimes. I had one guy ask me why I do so many covers, and I was like, because I want to, because
yeah,
I want to hear them
yeah.
my way.
hmm and there's a lot of people out there that like, especially Jason, that will they'll do covers in their own way. They'll do it like, say it has, it's like a clean song in general, clean vocals and all that. He'll growl it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do.
He
Me
Jason
He'll take
personally,
a pop song and
he
make it
Jason
metal.
fights every song he
yeah,
jumps on.
exactly. And I'm not, I definitely appreciate that. Personally, I would rather, I'm like, I feel a little bit more traditional. I want to try to get as close to the song as possible, and that helps me personally with my vocals, because I want to be able to try to match them as closely as possible.
Well, and the
But
nice thing is you give it your own unique tone. You do have a unique tone. You don't sound like every other singer, which is always a plus.
good to hear too, actually. That's really good to hear. Yeah, it's like actually, I think Angie said it earlier that oh man, I just trailed off. Holy shit.
Let's go ahead. Let's listen to Fate Weaver.
Yeah, do that, and then maybe
Maybe it'll come back to you. If it's our fate that
Just
we
like
weave.
brain farted.
Fate Weaver, a project started by Imp's vocals intro and finished by the Doctor. At @the_imp on vocal, at Dr_Snave on guitars, metal, trending, epic, vocals, Viking. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Tadan komameyar Mars vitandu Triarotten sale runt oli stände Orecto en ladra verandiscaro Askirisco dinna trigiu Telog tu telif kuru alda bonu molag sejao Orecto en ladra verandiscaro Askirisco dinna trigiu Telog tu telif kuru alda bonu molag sejao Molag sejao let's try. Blah, 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 blah. Dalaglag du telifguru alla bonum alla seja. Yeah, much better.
Incredible. I love that.
Oh, the intro
Yeah.
was gorgeous. The way you did the
That was-
intro, beautiful. And you got the row.
Yeah.
You got the row chant. Like, I felt it.
You know, what's funny about that row portion was I actually found that online. It's amazing to me sometimes that you can find anything online if you just look for it, you know. Like
That's right.
that one it was just a free track that was somebody just like rowing, you know, and I'm just like, I want to use that.
And you know, it is sometimes just a simple like sound like that
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
impact. It had a lot of impact when it kicked in.
Yeah.
Again, you found the sound to put on top of that music. Good ear.
You know, and with it kind of gets boring, you know, when you were telling me about my harmonics in the background, I kind of get bored with that sometimes, you know, because when Tier came around, when we were doing Tier, and I asked like 10 different people because I didn't want to do it. Well, first off, I didn't want to do it. Second, I thought it would be less authentic, I guess. So I wanted people to be able to hear more than just my voice in there and just me doing vocals, you know. So it's just like, everybody I asked, I'm like, can you do this for me? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. You know,
See,
I'm like,
isn't
it's
it nice to have
like-
people to ask? And it's good
yeah,
that
but
you're humble enough to like say like, you know, I want this sound and I need others to make that sound. It's good that you recognize that, and that makes you a better musician.
yeah, but it's like I said, you know, branching out, even for something as small as just like, this is literally just a 5-second thing. Can you just do this for me? All you have to do is yell into the mic for like 5 seconds, you know. And I'm just like,
That's our last
But-
project.
but
That's what it
everybody
was.
else-
It was like, we need you for 5 seconds. It
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
a month for some to get their 5
oh,
seconds.
dude, you know,
And it was like, just say a sentence. Literally.
yeah, yeah. And that was like, I'm very patient, you know. But at the same time, I was also kind of like antsy at the same time, you know. You have like Wall. When I ask Wall, like Wall takes forever on sometimes, you know, because he's got so much other stuff
And
going
it's
on.
worth the wait with him.
Yeah, and Jason too. You know, he has a lot of stuff going on, and all I wanted was, and like it's like 4 days passed by, and I'm like, all I wanted was 5 seconds of your time. But it's like, I understand at the same time, you know. So I'm just like, I'm only getting antsy because I want to finish the song. But it's like shit, dude. Like, just, please. But
I just want to
came
hear
out
it now.
good in
Just do
the
your
end.
part.
Yeah.
Don't betray me.
And you know, like I said, I'm not a rude person, so I'm not going to go like, hey, you know, there's time, because there's no time limit. Why would I set a
Right.
time limit? Like, I don't have a time limit. What the fuck else am I doing? Like, I'm not doing anything else. So it's like, I can wait. Like, I just want this song to be finished, you know. So like asking people to do stuff and waiting, like especially Jason was like, it took 2 weeks for Jason to get to it, and I'm just like, I understand why he's busy and everything like that, you know. But then I hit him up actually, because I'm like, he was the last person I needed, and he's like, oh, I forgot, shit, sorry, yeah, you should have said something earlier. I'm like, motherfucker, dude. Literally all I had to do was message you. Like, God, dude, that's on me.
Well,
you know,
sometimes
that's
it's
on
that
me.
That works.
Yeah. I've been waiting all this time, and it's my fault. Like, damn it. Oh God. But like I said, I understand, like, he has other stuff going on. Like, yes, he probably did forget, but it is what it is, you know. And the song got done, so I'm not even like, I'm not even mad. I wasn't mad. I'm not mad now. It is what it is. So
Jason, get on your shit,
But,
right?
yeah. Yeah. And so it was nice, because like I was hoping that it would come out good, you know. I had no idea how it would come out, so every time somebody added their own words into that side project, because I told nobody what was going on. I just said, just do this for me, no questions asked, basically. And they're all like, okay, sure, you know. And they have no idea what it's for. I said, just trust me, because if I tell you what it's for, it's going to ruin the surprise, you know. And every time
Well,
somebody
Ange
added
does that
something,
all the time.
yeah. Oh shit, I'm not alone then. it's just fun that way, you know. It keeps up the suspense. It keeps up the suspense.
Keeps them
and
on their
everything, you know?
toes.
It's like, because it's like, okay, this is what I'm using it for, so now you're like not surprised when it comes out at the end, and it's like it just kind of ruins it. Like, I want you to be surprised. Just trust me. And so every time somebody added their vocals to it, I would take that track and I would download it to my phone. I probably still have it on my phone, but I would download it to my phone, and then I would put it on that track and see if it would work. There were a couple snags because some people would be a little bit off timed, or their T's, the pronunciation of their T's would kind of overwrite, and that's where I kind of like I have problems with
T's and S's.
compressing that stuff. Yes, yeah,
Or
and
pops.
I have that same, especially like
Puss.
T's. Yeah,
P's, yeah.
like yeah, for sure. Because
Turn
and
the mic
I know it.
slightly.
Yeah, even
that
so
key off
that's
center.
yeah. So that's where mastering comes in, and I'm so personally like, and I do like, especially with those cover songs and stuff like that, I like to be able to practice if I'm able to like mix it, you know, like I'm doing my own cover songs. I want to be able to mix it. Like the track itself, the instrumentals are already mixed, and I don't want to ruin that, but I need to be able to get my vocals to match it instead of like sounding like it's overlaying, you know. And it's the same thing
It's
with the
good
T's
for
and
you
S's.
to
You wanna
have.
sound like you're in the
It's good
same
for you to
place.
have a grasp of vocal mixing. All vocalists, I think, should appreciate vocal mixing. They should try it. They want, even if somebody else is going to do the mixing and the mastering, vocalists should still understand what goes on there to a degree, so that when they do their parts, they understand what needs to get done.
And appreciate the
Right.
work, because it could take us 30 minutes to lay down a track, but to mix and master it, it could take 7, 8 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
I was even
And, like,
giving you
I'm-
some extra.
Yeah, every time I'm like, you know, I feel a little like I'm not doing enough, you know, because it's like all I'm doing are vocals, but everybody else is like, well, you know, put it this way, I can't do vocals, so you doing vocals is already like
Well,
way
and
more
you've
than
been
I
lucky
can do.
enough to be
Yeah.
working with some people who are really good on the mixing and mastering side. I mean, Burns knows his
Yeah.
shit. Snaves has got his ear.
Mhm.
These guys,
Yeah,
these
but
guys know
Wall?
what they're doing too. Wall is
yeah,
super
Wall's
genius.
fucking fantastic. Oh my god, it's so
Okay,
fantastic.
so you gotta tell me about
man.
Betrayal. Since we're talking about Wall, and the next song is Betrayal. I'm sure he
So-
didn't betray you though, because Wall is just, he's a sweetheart.
He really, he's so nice, man. Like I added him on Discord because I wanted to be able to talk to him outside of, you know, Bandlab and stuff like
Yeah.
that, because he's just such a cool guy, and he preferred it too. He's more responsive on Discord, I think, than he is on Bandlab, which is funny because you got to
Well, it's
come
hard
to
to
Bandlab
keep up on Bandlab sometimes.
Yeah.
You can get
It is, yeah.
inundated on Bandlab with messages.
Like I particularly with like Dystopian Sorrow, like I had we finished our EP, but then I started working on another song, and I'm like, oh man, I want to add in like a guest vocalist, like someone, you know, female. So first was Amy, Miss Amy was interested at first, and then, and then but she
She
never
is a female.
responded. No, yeah. Yeah, so Miss Amy didn't respond at first, or actually I don't think she did. But she was like expressing interest. She's like, "Oh, this song's really good. I really wanted to sing on it." And then I'm like, and then they were asking me like, "Hey, you know, do you have a song that," or Sean and everybody, they were asking me like, "Oh, do you have a song that you would want her to do vocals on?" And I hit her up, but she never responded. So I'm like, well, I got to, you know, if I want these vocals, I need to get somebody on there, you know.
Well, I
because
have
the
to tell
song
you,
just-
in Miss Amy's defense,
Yeah,
she
you
had an
might have caught her-
issue with
you
a
might have caught her when she
microphone and
lost her
being
equipment.
able
Fair
to get
enough.
her stuff. So Miss Amy is down for collaborations and back on track now.
Yeah, and
on
she's
the
got a
lab.
new
Right,
mic and
okay.
new equipment. She's
So
back full force.
yeah, I'll try hitting her up again, because she, like I said, she did express interest, and I'm not blaming her whatsoever. I'm just saying that it's like, I understand people got stuff going on and stuff like that, so I just need somebody that's willing to fit in the time slot that I need, or willing to get there, because this song's been sitting in the queue for like 2 weeks, you know. And I'm just like, I can't really do anything. It's like what I had in my mind was I had this plan kind of all out already, and I can't go anywhere with the song until I can get somebody else to sing on it. So I'm just like, whatever, I'll wait, I'll see, I'll ask around. But as far as Betrayal, Betrayal is actually the second. It was a sequel song, actually, and the first. Oh man, I can't remember the name of the first song right now. But while he hit me up again, he's like, "Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this song?" And I'm like, "This is like the second time." I only worked with Wall once, and I didn't even expect that. I just asked him because I heard this song that he did, and I'm like, "Hey, could I do vocals on?" I hit him up personally, and I told him, "Hey, can I do vocals on this song?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." Like I would have forked it, but you got all these assholes who just kind of take songs and they don't even credit the original artist, and they just do whatever the hell they want with it. So I just turned off forking, and I'm like, okay, I understand that. So he's like, yeah, sure, and I'll even, he's like, and I told him like, would you mind mixing it for me, because it's your song, and I don't want to ruin it with my inability to mix it. He's like, yeah, totally fine, and then I think he liked the first song so well that he hit me up with Betrayal, and he's like, do you want to do vocals on this one?
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
like,
something to feel proud of.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was so stoked, especially coming from Walt, because I'm like, this guy's just, I feel like I'm like way underclassed for this,
He
but
is the man.
Yeah, he's so fun to work with, so easy to work with, so fun to work with. And he'll tell you
that's the kind
thing,
of peer recognition that'll make you feel good.
I definitely felt good about it. So when he came back, he's like, what do you got for this? And I laid something out, and just like with other people, he's just like, hey, this part's not kind of like adding up right, like, can you like redo it or like change it into this specific way and stuff like that. And I don't care about that. It's like, it's awesome to be able to hear somebody like critique while it's going on, instead of afterwards, when you're already done with the song and you're like, great, well, I fucked that up, and now I have to like redo the song, or not at all.
Shit's only a word that fits.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's nice to be able to talk with your collaborators during the process, and I'm a big fan of like working out the song when you're working on the song, not after.
Right. Yeah, and coming to work with Wall for a second time, and now I have 6 songs with him. So I'm like, hey man, I didn't think I'd be working this long with him, but the second song was like, I had to come up with something that I felt was going to be better than the first one, which I still think now that I think I prefer the first one over the second one, but it was challenging for me because I wanted to go in a direction that was that my influences would be able to help me out with, which was Opeth and a couple other bands I can't name right now, but I just wanted to go more prog, like a little bit more prog, and he likes mellow death and all that stuff. His songs aren't really too like prog influence. I mean, you might have some bands like I said, Opeth and Ghost and stuff like that, and Candlemass, where he'll take that kind of influence, but I don't think he will straight up go down the line of like one genre. He wants to be able to like mold it all together into his own unique way, and it does come out really good.
It always has his stamp on it. I recognize his tone. I recognize his writing every time I hear it.
Yeah, every time a song of his will come on Metal Monday or something like that, I don't even have to be paying attention. As soon as the guitar tone hits, it's just like, that's Wall. That's Wall right there. Like there's no doubt about it. And I'll look up, there it is. It's Wall's name.
Yep, that's what I do. Like I hear it in my head first, and I'm like, that's Wall, and then I look, oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and play Betrayal. Yeah. Betrayal. The imp at the imp. Wall at Wall _man_ band. Betrayal. Mellow Death. Lead vocals and lyrics by at _imp. Music and support growls by Moy. Or is it Moi? Moi. Moi.
French.
Moi. See? Trying to read things. Metal, death metal, doom, original, metal Monday, melodic death metal, heavy metal, gothic metal, heavy guitar. Here we go with Betrayal. In Jason's words, crank it.
Break it up.
Yeah, I didn't want that to end. That was badass.
Yeah.
I'm like rocking out over here with you.
It's funny. That was actually like the first time I heard Wall was like, because I asked him like, "Hey man, it's the same thing." I was like, "I don't want to just do my own harmonics or whatever. Would you mind doing some backup vocals or whatever, or screams or growls or whatever?" He's like, no, like, no, I don't really like I don't really like my screams or whatever. And I'm like, dude, can you please like do at least the screams? I mean, come on. And dude, it came out so bad. Like, I don't know if you could hear them because like I did my own, like I did two
There was some
harmonics.
really badass screams in there, actually.
Shit. I did that.
Yeah,
Man,
again,
it
you
was
gave
like
us
the
like
growl into the
four
scream.
different.
Like, yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, again, you gave like 4 different singing styles in one song.
And I was almost hearing like David Bowie too. Is David Bowie an influence for you?
No, not really.
Because some of the ways like you were vocally going, I was hearing a little bit of like his music in there as well.
You know, that's fair to say. But I think my main vocal influence would have to be Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth, because I just like wish like you wake up every day and you're like, I wish I had his voice. I wish I could just steal it from him. But then it's at the same
Shit,
time, it's
man,
like,
I
don't wanna
wish I
steal it
had
from him
your
because
voice.
Right? Yes.
I'm blushing again. Damn. But
No, that's okay. She makes me blush. I blushed all last
I
night.
could see right
And I
here
made
that-
James blush on Tuesday.
Oh. But yeah, he had, Michael Ackerfeld just had like this voice that it's so amazing. I want to like, while I want his voice at the same time, it's like I don't want to deprive him of it either, because then I want to be able to listen to it anymore. So it's like damn. So I want to try to get as close to it as I possibly can, so that because it's just a huge influence for me, and I don't want to say like I'm trying to rip him off or anything. It's just
No,
something that like I try to model myself a little bit after.
That's the biggest form of flattery.
respect.
When
Yeah.
it comes to music and
An honor.
artistry and artists who try to simulate other artists, it's the biggest form of flattery.
Yeah, I agree. I do, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's the same thing with like rap music, especially right now. How I was saying earlier, it's like if everybody's doing the same thing, it doesn't like sound original anymore.
Yeah.
Where Opeth, they're always changing, and I think that's what really, because like prog metal, I didn't always like prog metal. I didn't always like long songs, and they kind of seemed like, because my attention span just couldn't do it. But then I found Opeth one day and took like 3 listens. My first song by them was Beneath the Mire, and I just loved it so much that I bought all of their albums. I listened to all of their songs, and even now, like, people don't like how they changed their music, where he's not growling anymore, it's not as heavy, yada yada yada. But in its own way, it's still really good. If I could get a tattoo of any band, it would still be Opeth.
Oh, that was a question last night. I actually,
was it?
Yeah, I asked Jason like, if you had to tattoo a band on your arm, what would be the band? I think with him it was Slayer.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, mine would definitely be Opeth, because it's just such a huge influence for me, and I love every single album. They all resonate. Like, even if, believe it or not, I think the newer stuff kind of resonates with me a little bit more. Not with my metal per se, but with the journey I like to take when I'm listening to it. It's just out of this world to me. So I try to incorporate that so like when it comes to vocals for me, I hate repeating myself. I really hate repeating myself. So I try to come up with a way where either if I am repeating myself, I could try to do it in a different way, or I could try to make it, as unique as possible, or just not do it at all. Obviously that last song, there was a lot of repeating stuff, but
it just pulled you in. It was more like brainwashing. Like, I
was.
didn't want it to stop. Your voice was so
Yeah.
cool in there. Like, it was just awesome.
Shit, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Love that.
all these songs,
Love it, love it. Yeah.
all these songs we've heard. This is a nice diversified library of songs for you. It shows your different skills, your influences are in this music.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say to that.
No,
Little
Well, you
embarrassed
have to
now. It's like,
comply.
it's
I was like,
fantastic because the most
my
frustrating thing to hear multiple songs from an artist, the most frustrating thing sometimes is that the songs all start to sound the same with some artists, and that's the kind of repetition you don't want. You want your songs to kind of stand on their own, and each one of yours has.
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to play off of that. I don't want to like dissuade anybody from like that's first off, one of my biggest issues with metalcore is all the songs sound the same to me, and I'm not trying to diss any of the bands because they put in a lot of hard work and stuff like that. But and you know, you're welcome to do whatever you want to do. Is and some people really enjoy that.
Well, they tend
But
to use the same recipe. That's why it starts to
yeah,
sound the same, because you start hearing blast beats for like 4 minutes straight, and it feels like you're listening to the same songs when the recipe is the same ingredients.
right.
When
And
you
as a
add that extra dynamic, the different techniques that you're doing across your song, these are the dynamics that make these songs not sound like just like any other song.
And make you
right,
stick out, make you unique.
yeah,
So
it's
it's just
something
like
that
we were
I
talking about earlier, like
yeah,
hearing your vocals, like we know it's you.
for
So you
sure.
guys better go like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. Yeah, do
Better
it. Do it.
comply.
I know I know my profile says I do whatever I want, but I really want likes and subscribes, especially for Angify.
Oh,
And you
you should
better
get a bunch
comply.
Yeah, comply, damn it, comply.
Tell me
Um,
about that song Comply. Because you remastered
so
this. So this was an older song also from Pocket Band, right?
it is, yeah, it is from Pocket Band, and you'll be able to tell like the quality versus from now versus then. That this song, the reason I chose to send it to you is because I wanted to kind of show like where I came from before Bandlab and
Beautiful.
and what we did as artists before Bandlab, or some of us. I'm not saying everybody because a lot of people used like computer softwares and stuff. This one was on the phone, and I couldn't find any other music app at the time because it's like it wasn't even really heard of. This was something that was kind of, in my opinion, like unique and just a fantastic idea in general. But and you can hear when you listen to the song, you can hear how like some of it's a little choppy, and it doesn't like knowing I did it. Like if like going through that process and then hearing the song when it's finished, I could definitely tell, because so like anytime I hear these songs, I'm like, I know where I stopped doing this. I know where I stopped doing this. I know where I began doing that. I know, it just kind of ruins the immersion for me. But if anybody else listened to it, they had no idea what Pocket Band was about. I'm pretty sure they can overlook that. Like for instance, if you guys heard it, you guys would probably not hear what the hell I'm talking about. But at the same time, now I might be tipping you off, and you're probably going to be listening for it. So, but this this was the last time. Like Comply and there's another song called Nerve Shank. Those were the last two songs I think that I worked on playing guitar. I don't think I've recorded guitar since. I think I got bored of it, or it's either that or I was just too lazy to try again.
And
And
then you were just like, I'm complying. That's it. It's done.
yeah, yeah. To be honest, the guitar that I have now has been sitting in my room for 2 years, just collecting dust. I haven't even touched it. I moved it around. When I move it around my room, I'll move it. But
Hey, my keyboard collected dust for 10 years when I went
oh
into work mode.
yeah, yeah. I see. So yeah, everybody does it. it happens every once in a while. And but my biggest thing is I just lost the motivation to play the guitar, and that's like, especially when you're, because a guitarist, even I'm fairly certain, even like somebody as big as your favorite artist or whatever, they'll tell you that they're not masters at the craft. They're always learning. And it's something that Just like I haven't even learned scales yet. Everybody's like, scales are so easy. Look, and I'm just like,
Oh, then
that's what you're just showing me. Now you're not even
you
teaching
got to
me how
talk
to do
to our boy
it.
Glenn. He
Like,
will get you going with
yeah, and
all
it
sorts
sounds
of
badass.
skills.
Don't get me wrong. It's just I never got the motivation to get that far, and that's my fault because I don't put in that perseverance to do it. And if I'm sure if I picked up a guitar and I actually started practicing again, maybe one day I might get it.
Well, you've
But
kept your creative
No,
motivations going,
because even
shifting to
people that have been
vocals.
doing it for 80 years never got it going. There's still
right,
something, there's always something new with music. It's
mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
And
and
it's the same thing with
you've kept scratching that creative itch no matter what, which
right.
is what you got to do.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with vocalists. Is a lot of people are like, um, you know, a lot of people are saying like, I'm not good at vocals and da da da. It's like, well, I wasn't. I still don't think I am, but I'm hearing from you guys. You guys like it, and that's all that really matters.
I
It's like
think
I don't
you
even have
are.
I
to.
think you're
I
amazing.
don't even have to. Yeah, it's like I don't have to like. I don't really the thing is with me is that I don't really care too much about if somebody likes my vocals or not. Um, obviously I get kind of blushy and stuff like that. It's nice to hear, it really is. But at the same time, if I just focus on every little bad thing, I'm never going to improve. Like I'm just perseverance is really all it is. I used to, like 10 years ago, I was terrible. I thought I was terrible. I was whisper screaming into the mic. It's not even screaming,
Oh,
it's
that's
just
like
whisper
mumble
screaming.
rapping.
Everybody starts there. Yeah, it's like everybody starts there. Everybody's like I'm never going to be able to do it. I'm never going to do this or that. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and I'm at this point where, like, it's, including with all the help and everything, I'm able to do it almost effortlessly. um
That's when it feels good, when it feels
yeah,
natural.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm going, like, all these tracks you guys are hearing, I'm going over it 50 fucking times every time I get into the studio. I'm like, that sounds bad, that sounds bad, that sounds bad. Even with Wall, actually, that last
We're
song with
our own
Wall.
worst critics.
Yeah, that last song with Wall, like, I've said it before, the quality Wall brings out is so good. I feel like I'm not doing enough, and I've told him that. I said, he'll be like, "Oh, so these vocals sound really good, man. Are we done with the song? Can I start like mixing it?" I'm like, "No, there's just one spot that's really irritating the crap out of me. I need to fix it. And it would take me a whole nother 2 weeks just to fix that one spot because I want it to be perfect for him. It's not my song, it's his song, and I want it to. And he'll tell me too. He told me, he's like, it's both of our song, But I'm like, no, I need to match it. I need to match your quality because I feel like I'm underwhelming.
And
And that's really all it
No,
is.
you're
Yeah.
not.
A good engineer like Wall will appreciate your extra effort there and not get impatient. A good engineer does understand when like a singer really does have to be happy with their track and doesn't sit there and say, "Oh no, cutting you off and need to go to the mixing." I would rather wait till the singer is happy with the track than try to rush the track.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's definitely like that. He's very patient. I mean, because he's
Well,
he's probably got other songs that.
he's been through it he's a
Yeah,
experienced
he really is
musician.
too. Which is why, like, how I would go down his profile and I see all the responses he gets, and everybody's like, he's all badass, but you only see he has like 50 likes on a song. It's like why? Like, his stuff should be off the charts. This shit should always be in first place on the playlist, like
Yeah,
everything.
I
Like, just
agree.
but it's not, like,
Well,
and that's
and
kind
there's
of
only
just
so much audience, on Bandlab. There's several artists where I feel like they should have millions of likes, but there isn't a million people on Bandlab clicking like in any particular genre. That's why you
right.
don't typically see it there. But if that artist does get out to other platforms and really gets heard in bigger venues,
Yeah.
these are the artists I expect that would get millions of likes. Wall especially.
So, Imp, let me
Yeah.
ask, where do you see yourself going in the future? Where do you see yourself going before you meet Mr. Cemetery, Jason Jacobs?
Ah, fuck. No, I haven't. No,
Even though you'll
I
probably be
don't.
muting him in a few minutes in a backstage, but
um, I've never really put. I try not to think about it, because thinking about the future puts anxiety into my head,
but what do you want to
and
leave behind?
I haven't thought about that either. To be honest, it's a
Okay.
lot of my mentality is trying to stay in the present
All
because I
right.
think to
So then
to
let me ask you this way. This is question number 3. If there was
okay.
someone out there that was 16, 17 years old that just got into metal like you did, what advice would you give them from where you started to where you are now to be
So
able to help them to evolve?
If you could
are
tell
you?
yourself at 17 what you know now.
Wow, yeah, that's a good question. I would say like I said before, perseverance more than anything, because there were a lot of breaks that I took where I could have probably been a lot better. Like from 17 to 18, I probably could have been a lot better than I am now. I couldn't, I wouldn't be throwing out my voice so often. Um, I'd also probably tell myself to kind of like, because at 17 I was working with people on pocket bands, like tell myself to branch out, like work with other people that I might not be at first comfortable with, or something like that. Just try to make acquaintances, and
Which now you're doing.
yeah, I am.
You're
Yeah, no,
following your advice.
I didn't think I would ever. Thought I would always be like, and I am. I'm still introverted, but it's like
Well,
just
introversion's
having those
normal.
people.
Slowly.
Introversion's
Yeah, it's
normal,
like
especially not just with musicians, but metalheads. Introverts kind of, I think, are required.
yeah, you got introverts, and then you go to a show, and there's no way to be an introvert at a show because everybody's trying to, it is
Right.
so strange that the energy with like with the snap of a finger, like you go to a metal show and everybody wants to talk, everybody wants to like get to know you
Buy
and
you a
share their
beer.
experiences, and like, yeah, and um and that's pretty much, yeah, that's what I would tell myself when I was, if I were to be able to talk to my 17-year-old self, or somebody who is 17, and especially if they're trying to like pursue something, like even if it's just like as a hobby. Like for me, I don't want to get professional in it or anything. I don't see any reason, I do this solely, actually primarily for myself, because it's fun. It's fun for me to do. It's something that helps me with my like be able to portray my emotions and all that stuff. Um,
Helps you to
and
express.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if a 17-year-old were to come up to me today and be like, how do you get your, like say, how do you get your vocals so good? All I could personally really tell them is practice, because I've had people when I was 15, I had somebody come up and say like, oh, you want to know how to get your growls better? Like put a pencil in between your Adam's apple and try to some weird shit like that. And I never got,
And
I
talk
never
to
got it
Jason
down.
Can you
Jacobs.
Yeah.
balance? I don't have an Adam's apple, but can you really balance a pencil on there? I don't
Well,
have
not
an Adam's
balance it. You
apple,
would
so like,
you would hold it right here, and you would try to like find the
the
growls.
notches.
Some weird shit. Yeah, it's some weird shit he
Yeah.
told me, and it made sense at the time, but it doesn't make any sense now. So I'm like, what the like? Okay, so I don't need that. But what Jason told me, I can't remember what he told me, but what he told me worked. Like it worked. It worked really well, and then even the video kind of elaborated on what he was talking about, and that was just all. It's just practice. I mean, like there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, all obviously, but you're not going to be able to do the right thing until you get there.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
there's
that's
some
really all
truth
it
to
takes. Yeah.
the statement practice makes perfect.
I agree. Yeah, that's really all it is perseverance. Just keep going, keep trucking, do what you feel is best. Learn, listen, all that, everything. Just keep it up. Really, um, yeah. That's pretty much what I would say.
Well, I think your 17-year-old self is now ready.
Yeah,
Take on the world.
yeah. Hopefully, if he didn't really listen very well, so We'll see.
Well, none of us did at 17.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, watch I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm so much better than I am now.
You have this like epiphanic,
That-
like, yeah, whole
Yep,
new dimension
much.
when you like wake up and you open your eyes. You know, I didn't believe that happened either until it happened to me.
Right.
Go to
You'll
bed
be able
and
to
you
hear
like
it.
wake up and it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. And like I said, you'll be able to hear it in Comply, you know, because Comply was back in 2000. That was almost 10 years ago, you know. So and you can hear it in the quality of the music. And actually, I'm going to be honest, the whole song was done on an acoustic guitar, but I used like a distortion to make it
There's
so
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Acoustics
so-
can sound like some of the most badass electrics when you hook them up
Yeah.
right.
I definitely agree, especially with like, because I didn't have the resources at the time or actually I was living with my parents too. My dad didn't like electric guitar, so I got
Yeah, they make
acoustic.
more noise.
So yeah, I went with just the acoustic and added distortion. Sometimes that's you got to do it, you know. And then if you want to revisit that song and you actually have an electric guitar, now you can, you know. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, you know. But yeah, that was the last time I played guitar. I just, you know, and the fact that I dropped it and I stopped persevering, that's something that I think is a huge mistake, especially when you want to, if you want to be able to play guitar and you want to be able to get to the standards of, because everybody says like, oh, I'll never be able to do that. You won't know unless you try. You know, you got to keep going. You just got to keep climbing that
Be that
ladder,
Norseman,
you know?
climb back up on that horse.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Pretty
don't forget
much.
your chainmail.
Yeah. I'll give you mine. I'll give you mine if it helps you. Pretty
This
much.
has been an awesome
we get to go
interview.
full circle with this track. Now
Yeah,
we are
do.
going back to the beginning. I love it.
Yeah,
Yes,
part of
yes.
it was like, why didn't we play it first? But then I'm like, you know what, this is good.
Well, this
Fine.
is actually
Like-
this is more interesting after like all the history and you know setting up the scene. This is an interesting way to actually hear the evolution going back
Yeah.
to the beginning.
Yeah, I could see that. Let me
You
see
guys
that.
make sure you like, share, subscribe at _imp.
Or
We're
she's
gonna go
come
ahead.
and find you.
We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna play Comply here. And Imp, thank you so much. This has been an awesome interview.
Oh, thank you. I really
You're
appreciate
gonna have to
it.
come do this again with us in the future. I
Yeah,
want
awesome
updates
journey.
from you.
You know what? I'll probably do it on my actually I haven't had that notification since, but I'll probably do it on my laptop next time because like I was so like, what the fuck? Like my phone about to blow up.
I love it, love it, love it. All right, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take out this interview with the song Comply. Here we go, guys.
Fantastic work, Adam.
Thanks.
We have Comply 2015 remastered. Description. In my own head, soundly sleeping, I'm at peace. Told me cravings would subside. Empty vessel. I comply. Metal Monday remaster 2015 Pocket Band. Enjoy. Here we go with Comply.
Are you gonna spread love or hate?